As an actor, I am fascinated with stories. It's amazing that something like this still exists. And Singapore is a perfect source for this. Whoa! What surprises does it hide? Or mysteries to answer? Oh. Join me, Adrian, as I go on a journey to explore and unravel Singapore's secrets. Here on History Mysteries. One of the things that I enjoy doing in my spare time is visiting shops filled with goods from Singapore's past. Now, do you remember manual typewriters, tiffin carriers, and postcards? Well, these things are considered vintage nowadays, and they're getting increasingly hard to find. But I have to admit that I have another reason for enjoying visiting shops that are filled with knickknacks from the past. What is it? Well, sometimes a simple visit can turn into a journey of adventure and discovery. I wonder what I'll find today. The Heritage Shop is located at Jalan Sultan, which is one of the oldest streets in Singapore. In the early maps, Jalan Sultan was denoted as Jalan Malintang, and it was only in the mid-1800s that its current name came about. This little shop in Jalan Sultan is a treasure trove of vintage collectibles and memorabilia. Owner Patrick Pua is a passionate collector himself and started out buying at garage sales about 30 years ago. He turned his passion into a business and opened the Heritage Shop in the year 2000. Oh, wow. Look at these old photos. I love looking through photos like these because they're just so evocative. All sorts of emotions, nostalgia to melancholy, sadness, joy. So, oh, look at this. The old Capitol Cinema, Odeon Cinema. I remember when cinema tickets used to cost only a couple of dollars for stall seats and maybe a little bit more for circle seats. If you don't know what stall seats and circle seats are, just go ask your parents, okay? Haw Villa, amazing. What is this? I've never seen this before. The 1000 Buddha Hilltop Temple. It's a bit of a mouthful of a name, and a name I never heard before. Patrick, hi. Hi, just wondering if you can tell me anything about this temple, the 1000 Buddha Hilltop Temple?
I don't know much about this.
May I buy this from you?
Yes, of course, yes.
Yes, how much is it?
I'm selling $5. $5.
$4? Okay, I'm just kidding. $5?
Yes.
Just for you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I'll try and come back and tell you what I find out.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, right.
Thank you, Patrick.
All the best, yes.
A temple lost in the annals of history. Now, this has definitely triggered my curiosity. I mean, does it even exist? Or did the printer make a mistake and name the temple wrongly? I mean, where is it located? And if it doesn't exist anymore, where did it used to be? So many questions. So, armed with my little treasure, I think it's time to meet a history expert who can shed some light on this forgotten temple. Dr. Jack Chia is a historian of religion with research interests in the history of Buddhism in Southeast Asia, and he currently teaches at the National University of Singapore. So, Dr. Chia, can you tell me about the 1000 Buddha's Hilltop Temple, please?
The temple was commonly known as the 1000 Buddhas Temple. It was founded by the late Venerable Chen Yuan, president of the World Buddhist Society. The temple was situated on Washington Hill.
Washington Hill. Is that a place in Singapore? I've never heard of it.
Yes, it's a place in Singapore. According to a map by John Turnbull Thompson, Telok Blangah Hill was known as Telok Blangah Hills. Washington Hill is actually Telok Blangah Hill. It was a hill with a range of 7 hills that spanned from Kampong Baru Road to Alexandria Road. In 1845, there were plans to build a signal station and a flagstaff on the summit of the undeveloped Telok Blangah Hill. In July 1845, it was renamed Mount Faber after Charles Edward Faber, of Madras engineers. He was responsible for clearing and building routes leading up to the summit of Mount Faber.
See, wait, okay, I'm a little confused now. My impression is that Telok Blangah Hill and Mount Faber are two distinct places in Singapore. Isn't that right?
In 1970s, there were plans to develop the Telok Blangah housing estates, and also the extension of Henderson Road between Depot Road and Telok Blangah Road divided the Mount Faber Ridge into two parts. So one part retains its name as Mount Faber, and the other is called Telok Blangah Hills again. In 2008, a 36 meters tall Henderson Wave Bridge was built to connect both hills. And guess what? I grew up in this neighborhood and I'm still a resident of this area.
I see. So you're an expert on this area because this is your hood.
Yes, this is my neighborhood.
I see.
So the Thousand Buddha temple was located about 80 meters above sea levels on Telok Blangah Hill. And back then, devotees had to climb about 100 steps to get to the temple on the summit. There are some documents on the World Buddhist Society and the Thousand Buddhas Temple in the NUS Chinese Library. Would you like to take a look at them?
Shall we?
Yes, let's go.
Let's do it. They're all Chinese books, right?
Yes, it's the NUS Chinese Library.
I'll leave it to you.
Okay, sure. The World Buddhist Society was initially located on 60 Richard Road. Subsequently, it was relocated to 40 Pender Road.
Right.
The Thousand Buddhas temple had a prayer hall. So maybe let's take a look at the documents,
Sure.
shall we? The temple was built to commemorate the Sakyamuni Buddha, the founder of Buddhism. And another very interesting aspect of the temple was that there was a huge giant Buddha statue just next to it. The temple was very popular among the locals, so usually on the 1st and the 15th lunar month, as well as on Vesak Day, devotees would visit the temple to pay respect to the Buddha. In the 1970s, the World Buddhist Society and the World Buddhist University was relocated to Alkaff Mansion.
Oh, so what's happened to the legendary Thousand Buddhas temple?
In the 1980s, there were plans to redevelop Telok Blangah Hill and the surrounding areas. Therefore, the temple had to relocate, and the temple as well as the giant Buddha were demolished.
Oh, so it's no longer there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I'm very curious to see where it used to be. Can you show me?
Sure, I'll try my best.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Dr. Chia and I climbed Telok Blangah Hill in search of the original site of the Thousand Buddhas temple. Do we find it? Or will this temple on a hilltop remain lost?
Well, Adrian, I think we are close by.
Good.
But there's something else I want to show you over there.
Okay.
Oh, Adrian, that's the Alkaff Mansion. The Alkaff Mansion was built in 1918 by the prominent Alkaff family as a weekend getaway. In the 1920s and 30s, the family hosted high society parties. However, it was abandoned in the 1940s and 50s after the Second World War.
Right.
In the 1970s, the World Buddhist Society shifted the headquarters into the mansion.
In here?
Yes, in the mansion.
Oh.
But a decade later, they had to relocate and leave the premise. And today, Alkaff Mansion is a fine dining restaurant.
Ah, I see. Okay, that's an interesting bit of history over there. But I still want to see where this temple used to be.
Yes, the temple should be there.
Okay, the search continues.
Yes.
This way?
Yes, that way.
Okay.
All right.
After that brief interlude, we were back to our quest to figure out where the Thousand Buddhas temple used to be. But it was not an easy task, as all Dr. Chia had to guide him was an old document and an old photo from more than half a century ago.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Chia,
Yeah.
you said that we were close. There's nothing around this vicinity that looks like a temple used to be here.
Yeah, well, I think it should be somewhere on top of the hill.
Up there?
Yes, I think so. Maybe we should keep searching.
Okay.
Yeah, well, somewhere there, I think.
Promise?
Yes. Well,
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah, wow, it's hot.
It is just a little bit hot, yes.
Yeah,
You know,
well.
Dr. Chow, I have to say, I hope you're right about this because I feel like I've
Yeah.
walked maybe about 700 steps, not 100.
I think we are going to be there soon.
Okay.
Yeah, I
We're
think
close,
it should
right?
be. Yeah, I think it should be up there.
Actually, you know what? I've heard that temples are built on an elevated plane to make devotees have to make the effort to climb up in order to go and worship. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, many religious sites are actually built on mountain tops because they are more isolated and quieter for spiritual cultivation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, I think it should be somewhere there.
Okay.
Let's.
Actually, I just stopped only because I just wanted to take a break. Not that I wanted to ask you that question.
All right, let's keep going. Well, almost there.
So this is the spot?
Yes, Adrian, this was where the temple used to be. This should be the place of the main shrine. And then there's a pagoda in front of the temple that I think we can see right over here.
Oh, okay, okay. So it doesn't look like a huge temple by any means, looking at this photo.
No, I think it was a small temple.
Uh-huh.
The Thousand Buddhas temple had thousands of Buddha images and statues. One of the most famous statues was that of the seated Buddha with a seven-headed naga coiled around him. They believe that the statue was a gift from the famous Wat Sutat temple in Thailand. In the 1980s, the government acquired the land and compensated the temple, but the amount was not enough for the temple to build a new place. Over time, we lost track of what happened to the temple and all the hundreds of statues it contained.
So it's all gone,
Yeah, I think it's all gone.
just like that.
Yeah.
Wow, and you said it was demolished when?
In the 1980s.
1980s, so around 30-something years ago, there was a temple right here where we're standing.
Yes, just right here.
Amazing.
According to the documents we found in the NUS library, the temple was just right next to Mount Faber that we can see right over there. And it was said that the temple had an excellent view of the harbor and
Right.
the city.
Right. Well, I have to say, the view from up here is excellent. That's Keppel Harbour and the surrounding areas. It is absolutely breathtaking. So this solves the mystery of the legendary temple then. This experience has just made me realize that it just takes a little bit of digging and you discover hidden gems that are lost in time. You know, it really gives you a sense of appreciation for the rich history that we have here in Singapore, in spite of us being such a small country, and also realizing the fact that there are so many secrets yet to be discovered. So, Patrick, that is the result of my investigations into this forgotten and legendary Thousand Buddha temple. You know, I think it's quite sad, actually, that, you know, such an iconic temple is now just forgotten in time.
Talking about forgotten places, I think I have another picture to show you.
Do you?
Yes,
Okay.
this is here.
What's this?
This is the Alkaff garden built by the Alkaff family.
The Alkaff garden.
Yes, I think it's no more around.
Oh, so this is no longer in existence either.
Yes, no more. As far
Do
as
you
I
know?
know,
Do you know exactly where it was?
I'm not very sure the exact
You
spot.
don't know either. I see. Well, I guess it's my job to go and find out. I've been challenged to find a forgotten garden. Where do I go from here? Who would have an idea of where to look? I decided to return to the beginning where it all started and find a member of the original Alkaff family. Meet Jafar Alkaff, one of the descendants of the Alkaff family and the grandson of Syed Abdul Rahman, the man who built Alkaff Mansion. A mercantile and land-owning family, the Alkaffs arrived in Singapore in 1852. Their investments in real estate established them as one of the largest property owners in Singapore. Their most famous properties included the luxurious Hotel del Europe, the Arcade Building, which was the first indoor shopping centre in Singapore in 1909, Alkaff Mansion on Teluk Blangah Hill, built in 1918, and the Masjid Alkaff, which was built in the 1930s for the local Muslim community. So Jafar, The Alkaff name is very well known in Singapore, but I have to admit I know very little about your family's history.
Yeah.
So could you give me a little bit of background on the
From what I
Alkaffs?
gather, because I was very young, then with the information I have from my uncle, most of our relatives or uncles have passed away. The information we got and what we found out is they used to trade in textile, in coffee, and they invested a lot in properties. And they do a lot of philanthropy work. They build mosques, they build schools, from Yemen to even Singapore. And
Also, the family originated in Yemen.
in Yemen.
The Alkaff name.
The Alkaff, our great-grandfather came from Yemen, they came to Singapore, and then my father and his brother were born here, and then they went back to Yemen. They were raised there, and then they came back here again.
So your grandfather moved here, or your great-grandfather moved here?
My grandfather.
Right. So this is in the early
Wow, I think-
1900s.
Yeah, 1900s,
Right,
1912, 15,
Okay.
around that.
But from what I understand, not only did they come to Singapore for business, but they did a lot of public works as well, and that they created this legendary Alkaff Gardens, which I've never heard of.
My grandfather, Habib Abdurrahman bin Sheikh Alkaff, he wanted to build a park along Upper Serangoon Road and Bidadari Cemetery. So what he did was he commissioned a Japanese landscaper to build this park. So it has like a artificial lake, mini hills, small hills.
Are you perhaps talking about this?
Oh, yes. Oh, this is what I've seen. Yes, absolutely.
This park was created out of just a flat piece
A flat piece of land, yeah.
That's amazing.
Amazing,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the bridge looks distinctly Japanese to
Yes,
me.
yes.
And it was a public park?
It was a public park. It was commissioned, I think, in 1929, and in 1930 it was open to the public. It was very popular among people. People go there for fishing. There's a tea house. People go there for boating, family picnics. I was told by my cousin that he said that the circus at one time came and they used that park for people to see the circus. The park was requisitioned by the British in 1941 in preparation of the war. The Singapore Volunteer Field Ambulance Services camp was set up there. And then later on, the premises was restricted when the Japanese took over during the war. Even the owner, even my grandfather, is not allowed to go in.
Really?
Members of the public were not allowed to go in. And then after the war, the place was pretty much forgotten. Nobody really took care of it. It was just left. Until I think it was in 1949, the Alkaff Lake Garden was sold to the Senate Realty Company for only $2 million to build the Senate Estate. Remember the Senate Estate?
Okay, now Senate Estate, suddenly I remember that. I know that name. So that's where it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
And then certain parts of it, and then the area, you still have a bit remnants of the Alkaff Hill, the lake, until it was flattened. And to build the Willow Secondary School, which is now Cedar Secondary School. Cedar Girls Secondary
Cedar Girls Secondary School is where this legendary Alkaff Gardens used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Jafar, thank you so much for spending time with me and telling me about your fascinating family, the Alkaffs. I'm still very curious to see where this Alkaff Gardens used to be, so I'm going to take a little trip to Cedar Girls Secondary School to see what it's like right now. Thank you so much, mate.
Off you go, my lad.
Well, behind me is Cedar Girls Secondary School, which now occupies the site that the Alkaff Gardens used to be. Now, fortunately, we still have some legacy of the Alkaff family in Singapore today, such as Alkaff Mansion, Alkaff Avenue, and the Alkaff Bridge, which was obviously named after the family. Well, I'm really glad to have solved the mystery of two of Singapore's forgotten places in our rich history. So if you are as curious as I am and like to seek out the unknown, then join me on the next episode of History Mysteries, where I tackle yet another one of Singapore's best-kept secrets to see what gets peeled back and revealed.